Alright, let me just record this quick update on week 2 of my journey going from average foiler to pro foiler. It's gonna be very off the cuff. I just have some notes here to not miss any points and stick around because I'm gonna give you some tips that I am implementing, some smart drills to improve my sprint, my speed, my strength and my distance into pump foiling. And also I'm gonna show you some gear, some bit of gear that I am using to speed up the process and be able to go out for a session every single day despite I'm running a business as well while doing that and creating content for this other channel. So the first thing I want to talk about is the race that I'm gonna be attending. I pointed the first one. I'm probably gonna be at the foiling week at the end of June in Lake Garda. So there is a race the weekend before the foiling week, which is in Saint Blaise in Lake Neuchâtel, and I'm probably gonna go and do that one. So that's gonna be my proper official first race. And in terms of what foil I'm gonna be using at that race, by the way, I should be fairly fit at that stage, right? Anyways, I'm going to probably use the Ketos 1250. I am not sure because now I'm pretty consistent with this little beast. I really like the way it pumps, and I can sprint it for a solid 1 minute, for a solid 60 seconds. Maybe I'm gonna get to a point where it's really too big and I want more speed. I'm not sure yet. It's probably gonna happen because I'm already at 8 or 9 out of 10 starts with this one. Of course, you need to have probably 20 starts out of 20 to be able to go confidence and attend the race with a good level of confidence. Anyways, this was just a little update on that. And then moving on to the training I'm doing to train for these races. So these races are most probably going to be more sprints, like 101 in short courses. So maybe anything between 40 to 1 minute 30. 40 seconds to 1 minute 30. So what I'm doing just specific training. So I cannot beat, for example, Yvonne or other people like those in terms of how many hours they spend in water and they have spent in the water in their careers. I simply cannot. But I can beat them into specificity. I can train more specifically for the type of races that I'm gonna be racing. I can train more specifically even outside the water to be able to to have an edge in other areas. So before we touch onto what I'm doing outside the water, inside the water I try and do as many sessions as possible in a week, at least 3 or 4, where I'm specifically focusing on speed. So I have a little course and I just try and go as fast as possible. I try and make the sharpest turn I can make without trying to not lose speed, and then I just do it. And one thing that I'm kind of struggling with is that I can be pretty fast for the first 30 seconds, and then I hit the anaerobic barrier, you know, when the effort goes from anaerobic to aerobic, and then I kind of lose that spring for the last maybe 30 seconds of the course, if the course is, let's call it 60 seconds. So I'm gonna try and improve that top end there to be able to really be fast and powerful for the entire duration of the race. And of course, pumping on a straight line and fast is fairly simple. I'm yet to understand whether it's best to pump or to have a higher cadence to gain more speed. I'm doing some tests on what's the best technique to use to make the foil go faster, because I want to also be a bit scientific on that side. But yeah, I think that as of now, pumping and suffocating the foil seems not to be the best option. So I'm gonna try and have a more a lower cadence and really push the foil and make bigger pumps, because this seems to work a little bit better. I didn't touch on the fuse. For now, I'm still on the longer fuse I have with this 1250, which is roughly the same length of the ultra short from Axis. And I just moved to the 130 tail, but I'm probably gonna test the shorter mast, the shorter fuse, in the next few days and see if I can gain some speed. And by the way, to track speed, I'm using still my iPhone. Maybe I'm gonna get an Apple Watch down the line, but I'm using the Zev app, and it's pretty accurate even from the iPhone, and I just keep it in this pouch that I got. I put it in my pocket, and it stays dry, and I can pretty much have a recap of the session with the max speed, and the max speed over like 10 seconds, which is probably actually what I need. Actually, I need probably even more the max speed over like 30 seconds, 1 minute, but then you can pretty much calculate it by looking at the launches, the tries that you did. So that's that. We touched on the gear, and I'm also doing specific drills to improve my start and my technique. If you're following me on Instagram where I'm sharing videos, you've probably not yet seen, but you're going to probably see a reel, because there is a delay from when I record the reel and from when they go out. So that's my team and I have time to process it and upload it. Anyways, I sometimes, because I'm lazy mainly, but I pump with the pod of the foil drive. So that part, that plastic bit of kit that holds the motor, the propeller attached to the mast of the foil drive, I just keep that and I pump with that. This way I'm forced to be sharp with my start and also to stay high on the mast, because as soon as you go too low, you have this reminder, and this reminder, you can hear it, you can feel it, and it also punishes you, because if you put it in the water, you get a little bit of drag, and you need to then increase the power, you need to use more energy to be able to get it back upright. So that's a pretty solid, if you're struggling with staying high on the mast, I suggest you try, maybe if you don't have the foil drive, don't get the foil drive, so just solely to put it on the mast and have this reminder. But you can try and attach something to your mast that you can hear and feel when you get too low on the mast. So try and do that. Then another thing that I'm doing is to just try and go as fast as possible, like to really just do these 30-second sprints, and then I rest maybe for a couple of minutes on the dock before I do another one, and that really burns your quads like crazy. And then I'm yet to try it. I'm yet to manage to start the 1250 with the big board, but I'm gonna try. You can see it probably somewhere up here with my Apple Tree board. This board is a 135, and of course it's also thicker. And I want to try and train with that, because with the bigger, longer boards, first of all, you have a little bit of added weight and lag, so it's kind of harder to pump. And also, the start is the most different and the hardest part, because suddenly you cannot really make mistakes or pitch it in any direction, because you're just going to lose it. You're just going to touch down and sink. So very cool. I'm gonna try and practice more with the same set and a big board, because if I can become precise with a big board, if I can become precise with the pod of the foil drive attached to my mast, I'm gonna be very, very efficient when then I switch back to the Ketos board, super light, and nothing on the mast bothering me when I go too low, right? So that's that in terms of drills. Then what I'm doing outside the water to stay as fit as possible. I was already fairly active, and like I said, I can probably not compete against the other pros in terms of time on the water, like overall time on the water, but I can most probably outlay them, if it's a word, I think so, in terms of physique, in terms of shape, physical shape. So I'm not running loads. I'm running once per week. I try and do these long interval runs with this friend of mine. He's an expert. Like, he's good at it. I'm not. So I just follow whatever he's doing, and it seems working fine. I'm improving slowly, week by week. Of course, as much as you can by running once per week. I cannot, unfortunately or fortunately, run more than that. I'm doing CrossFit 3 times per week, and I try and do programs so that I'm really giving it all for 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. And then I also do some strength at the beginning, and then of course stretching both at the beginning and at the end. Not really stretching, but mobility exercises, because mobility, as you probably know, is fairly important when it comes to dock starting and pump foiling. And that really, really helps, because compared to the gym, to normal weights, you really develop fitness, focus, endurance, mental strength. It's just fantastic. Explosiveness, which you really, really need when it comes, of course, to pump foiling, especially in these fast races. So I really enjoy it, and I see that by doing that, I still keep the same shape pretty much, if not better than when I was hitting the gym. I enjoy it more, and it also transfers best to pump foiling than just the gym. And then I sold my motorbike, so I'm really just moving with my bicycle. And then of course, if I have to go to another city, I just rent a car for one day or whatever. These cars that you can pick with, like, start with the app, whatever. And I can tell you that I've got a fixie bike, and I go pretty fast every time I have to go somewhere, just because to save time, right? And I believe that that's also a very nice training for pump foiling, because if you, like, pump foiling is like leg movement for over a long period of time, and that's pretty much what you get with cycling as well. So I believe that that's gonna help as well. You know, if I can rock 50 to 60 kilometers per week, probably it's gonna be a little bit more than that even. Anyways, yeah, in terms of 60 kilometers per week on my bike, on my bicycle, quite fast. Like these kilometers spread throughout the week and done quite fast. I believe that's gonna really help with my endurance, with my fitness, and with my leg strength. And that's pretty much what I'm doing in terms of training outside of the water. Because then I'm looking at my notes here. The gear. I want to talk about the gear, not the foil and stuff, because I touched on that already. But the bits of equipment that I'm using to make my life a little bit easier. So I was using this kind of, like, as you probably are, this kind of T-shape type of Allen keys. By the way, this one is from Foil Drive, which are okay, but the problem is that, you know, if you have to disassemble the mast and stuff like that, you're kind of wasting time, because every time you have to be careful to not hit the mast with the key. So I just got, I didn't get anything like electric, because I don't want to I can't be bothered charging stuff and everything. I already forget to charge the Foil Drive sometimes, so I don't have enough mental capacity to take something else. But if you can put your hands on some of these, so just like a screwdriver, but with on top the thing that like just to screw in the Torx screws, right, bolts. So I just find it's way better. And then you might argue, yes, but you cannot really tighten the mast or the fuselage. Well, you can. You just do this, and then you have a lever, and you can pretty much use it as well as you would use this one, which is just a pain in the ass. And then I love Foil Drive. Everything is great. The packaging, everything is just perfect. But you know it if you have a Foil Drive, the screwdriver with which you are supposed to, like, screw and unscrew the little screws. So I just got this, which is apparently a little bit more precise, and at least I don't fuck up my screws. Then I showed the little pouch for my iPhone. I'm probably gonna get an Apple Watch down the line, just to be able to track my sessions a little bit better, and to be a bit more scientific, to see, like, the pumps, my heart rate, and all this kind of data, which might be useful. But actually, the main reason why I want to get that is to be able to make more scientific reviews, because when I have that, then I can really compare the cadence, the pumps, the heart rate, the speed. So that's pretty cool for like testing foils. So let me know if you guys are interested in foil reviews and comparisons. Then it's gonna be another reason for me to buy an Apple Watch. Then I'm using, you probably noticed it in some of my videos on Instagram, this Instamic. So it's a microphone, and the audio is unbelievably clean, considering that it goes underwater, and I love it. I'm not using it that much, because I'm not recording that much when I'm on the water. I mean, I'm just recording like sequences and not too much audio. But if you're recording on the water, I highly recommend it. The only thing that I have to mention is that if you're going to use it in salt water, you really have to clean deeply, maybe with an old toothbrush, or your toothbrush, if you don't mind. You have to make sure that there is no salt water inside the connector, like the plug down here, because otherwise you're gonna have issues connecting it to the laptop. What else? Oh yeah, and then I did the investment because I wanna increase the quality of content that is gonna come up on my channel. And as you probably know, I'm gonna get into wing foiling and probably SUP flat water paddle up and later downwinding. So I got this one. this beast. It's a zoom lens, as you can tell, 150 to 600. So I can pretty much see the people walking on the moon with this beast. And yeah, I just now need someone to operate it. I'm gonna probably just hire illegally friends and people on the beach, and hopefully they're not gonna steal it, since it costs pretty much like as much as the body. Okay, I already broke it. All right. So yeah, this means for you that you're gonna see better quality content in the next few months and years, maybe. All right. So that was pretty much my update. Let me see if I forgot something. I think I mentioned everything. Oh, one thing that I need to mention is that on top of this gear, I also sorry. Oh, this was my microphone. I also invested quite some solid cash into a hat. I'm not a huge fan of helmets, in case you can't tell, but I got this hat. It's a reinforced hat, which is called the bang proof something. And it's gonna arrive next week, and I'm gonna maybe make a review, or at least on Instagram, and tell you my opinion about it, because I believe it's pretty cool having a hat, like a normal proper skateboard hat, reinforced to, be protected even if you're just wearing a hat. And I'm probably gonna use it for my bicycle, when I ride my bicycle as well, right? Just to have another layer of protection. That's that. And to wrap up this video, great news are coming. Great news. Great stuff is coming next week, most probably, or the one after that, because we're gonna do this camp here in Cyprus, and in the meantime, something very cool is gonna arrive. And I'm not gonna make any spoiler, but I'm super excited. And yeah, just stick around and don't miss the next videos, because they're gonna be pretty damn interesting. Okay, cheers.